Again, the functional resume is best if you have one long gap or multiple employment gaps in your resume in the past 5 years, or you're a first-time worker, or you're drastically changing career paths. This is probably the resume you want to use. Now, a combination resume, just a word about that, is a blend of the chronological and functional resume types, of course. This resume format allows you to emphasize both your work experience and relevant skills. And because your skills and employment history will consume most of your resume space, you may need to eliminate optional sections of this, such as summary statement, or volunteer work, or special interest, that type of thing. You want to make sure that you have your contact information, your objective or summary statement, a summary of most relevant skills, your work experience, and your education. And this is best if you're making maybe a slight career transition, or if you have a kind of a diverse employment history where relevancy to the role that you're applying for may not be immediately clear, but you want it to become clear. Now, the goal of formatting your resume is to create a professional-looking, easy-to-read document. Employers have only a short time to look through your resume after the ATS clears you, so your formatting decisions should make information clear and easy to find. Now, if you're formatting an existing resume, you might need to adjust certain words or phrases to ensure that it's still easy to read after you've applied all the formatting changes. If you're formatting a resume before you write it, be sure to pay attention to how the information looks on the page and adjust it as needed. Setting proper margins for your document ensures the information fits within the readable space on the page. That's important. Standard margins for resumes and other professional documents are 1 inch on all sides. And just a pro tip on alignment, you want to left align all the text on your resume since it's the easiest format for reviewers to read. And if you want, you can center align your name, your contact information, and the headline. And if you choose to center align any text, that's okay. But this is the only section that should be considered for center alignment. Let's talk a bit about fonts. There are two main categories of fonts, serif and sans serif. Serif fonts have tails while sans serif fonts do not. And sans serif fonts, the ones without the tails, are generally good fonts for resumes because they have clean lines that are easy to read. The several examples of the best resume formats are here, and I've tried to put that exact format in place for you. There's Avenir, Calibri, Cambria, Constantia, Corbel, Franklin Gothic, Garamond, Georgia, Gil Sans, Helvetica. And these are some, probably the ones that are used the most. Font size should be 10 to 12 points tall. Make your words clear and readable, appropriate font size. Generally stay between 10 and 12 points, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. Now, if you have a shorter resume and you're trying to fill up space, use the 12-point font. Anything larger might appear unprofessional or almost childish sometimes. If you got lots of information, then start with a 10-point font and increase it only if you have space. And if your resume is still more than one page with a 10-point font, then avoid reducing your font further by, in other words, don't make it smaller. Instead, try to make your ideas more concise by removing irrelevant or extraneous information. Combine ideas, make them briefer with shorter sentences and fewer filler words. For example, here's a sentence in a resume that can be shortened. Performed inventory audits every month and discovered issues with over-ordering, executed an organization solution across all teams which resulted in a 10% increase in revenue over the next 2 quarters. Now, this is all important stuff, and we want to get all of that across as best we can, but we need to make ideas concise and remove filler words to include only the core value of your statement. So something like performed regular inventory audits, identifying and solving over-ordering issues to achieve 10% revenue increase. That would be a little bit better. So also, you want to consider removing filler words such as like, with, a, and that. Instead of listing each function of every job that you've held, pick 2 or 3 key impacts you made in those roles. Impacts that you think are very specific or very relevant to the role that you're trying to get hired for. If you have 2 similar points, consider combining them into one brief statement and adjust down the spacing between sections so that there's less space. Section headers, this is kind of important too. Bolding, underlining, or increasing the font size by 1 or 2 points for section headers helps quickly find the info that the employers are looking for. Be careful when formatting section headers. They should be differentiated from the section body in a clean, professional way. You can stylize your headers in a few different ways, like these. Use a bold font on your section headers. Increase the size to 12 to even up to 14 points, but just on the section headers. Maybe underline your section headers. You can also apply these styles to your name and contact information at the top of your resume. The boldness, for example, and the larger font. This information should be the first thing employers see, and it should be easy to read and reference. Pro tip here is, when differentiating section headers, avoid inserting lines that span across the page. Often when an ATS reads a formatting element like this, errors occur like scrambled text, and that can make your resume difficult to decipher. You can use bullet points, but just use them where they're appropriate. You don't want to bullet every single line on your resume. All right, here's the action for the class. If we're doing this class live, or if you're watching this with me, you want to begin your resume, and what I would do is keep it on a flash drive or a thumb drive. Keep it in your email storage, in both places, and in various formats. Word and PDF are usually the most common formats that are used. Step 1, you want to list your name and your contact info, and again, you can bold it, you can center it. Just ensure that it's on each page. Like if you have 2 pages, for example, make it out in one single long line at the top of page 2. That way, if page 1 and 2 happen to become separated, they'll know that page 2, who it belongs to and who it's about. Separate the lines for the name, email, phone number, and mailing address. Put them all on separate lines. Now, let's talk about cover letters for a minute. Cover letter tips from Indeed.com. And what I have here is an example of the first paragraph of a cover letter, but Indeed.com says, while cover letters not always required, many hiring managers still rely on them to gauge an applicant's skill, their experience, and background in relation to the position that they're hiring for. When optional, submitting a cover letter is a great way to go above and beyond to show the employer you're genuinely interested in the job. And the key to writing an effective cover letter is to succinctly communicate how your professional experience fits the needs of the role and culture of that company. Now, a cover letter is usually a 3 to 4 paragraph memo to employers that explains your interest in the job and their company, as well as your fitness for that role. It's typically submitted along with the resume in a job application, and it needs to highlight your skills and experience and achievements, in relation to that position. Unlike your resume, cover letters allow you to go into more detail about your professional career and explain why you're a good fit for that company. Your cover letter should be 1 page in length and use a simple professional font like Arial or Helvetica, and again, only 10 to 12 point font size. Your letter should be left aligned with single space 1-inch margins, just like the resume. Now, specifically, you want to try to find the name of the person who will be reviewing the applications for the job and address your letter to them with a common business greeting such as dear or hello. If you're unable to find the preferred gender pronouns, he, him, or she, or her, them, they, whatever, it's best to use a gender-neutral greeting such as dear first and last name, or dear position title, like dear hiring manager, or hello, Ms. Wallace, dear Tyler Wallace, something like that. All right, in the first paragraph, which we are now here, of your letter, mention the job title that you're applying for and where you saw the position posting. So here's an example. I'm excited to apply for the graphic designer position at Cloud Clearwater I found on Indeed. I understand you're currently adding several new product lines, and I believe my skills in video and animation provide a significant advantage for creating a successful launch. As a longtime fan of your products, I'm thrilled at the opportunity to bring my unique style and passion for beach water to the company. Now, when you say things like that, if you are indeed a longtime fan, that's great. But don't lie. Don't create something that isn't true just to try and draw their interest. If it's true, it's true, and if it's not true, then just don't say it. Integrity is the key here. Your second paragraph should be a brief overview of your background that would be relevant to the position you're applying for. Here you should include key achievements, skills, and specialties that make you particularly suited to perform well in that position. Focus on 1 or 2 and provide specific details about your success, including the measurable impacts that you made. And pay close attention to the keywords listed in the job description and include those keywords that you identify with in the body of your own cover letter. You should only include information about your most recent 1 or 2 professional experiences. So here is an example of paragraph 2. As the Director of Human Resources at West Morgan Phillips, I was a key senior leader in the organization and was responsible for improving the efficiency and performance of the company's 540 employees. Before that, I worked in human services, equal employment opportunity, and diversity for Jenkins Technology Solutions Incorporated. At Jenkins Technology, I developed an employee retention plan that involved the creation of a wellness program, an internal training program, and promotion selection process, which led to a 50% reduction in the overall employee turnover rate. Okay, so that's a mouthful to actually read out loud, but a hiring manager would get the point of this. And I like how this example has shortened sentences because it could have gone on for a long time. The final paragraph, the next paragraph, should focus on another key achievement or skill that's relevant to the position, and instead of repeating details from your resume, expand on specific stories or anecdotes that display your fitness for the role. And again, focus on stories that demonstrate the skills and qualifications outlined in the job description. If you're changing careers, this is a good opportunity to talk about transferable skills or relatable experiences from your career. Here's an example from paragraph 3. Achieving ambitious marketing goals is always a top priority, and I'm always looking out for the best interests of the company. I enjoy delivering marketing presentations to potential clients and focusing on the strengths of an organization. My marketing skills at RiverTech enabled the company to experience new levels of success and a 45% increase in customer engagement. I'm never satisfied with the status quo, and I believe that the company should continually look for ways to improve and reach new clients through innovative campaigns. And then you also want to end with a professional sign-off. Here's an example of that. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'm looking forward to learning more details about the sales position and about TradeLot. Growth is essential to my continued success, and I'm excited for the chance to be a part of TradeLot's industry-leading team. My proven track record and TradeLot's quality products are a winning combination for increasing the company's market share. Sincerely, and then your name, of course. So you should end your cover letter with a paragraph that summarizes those reasons, keeps the cover letter conclusion brief, and explains that you look forward to hearing from the employer with the next steps. You sort of put a little bit of ambition on them. End with your signature at the bottom, of course. For deeper info on cover letters and more examples, you can go to one of the many places is Indeed.com, and once you're there, go to Career Guide and then How to Write a Cover Letter, and that'll help a little bit. But these have been online resources for how to get a job, how to acquire a job, and how to write a resume that presents you as the answer to the prayers of the company who is looking to hire for that role. How to interview your way into a job, that's a whole nother conversation, and we'll probably have an upcoming session on that, so watch for that going forward. But don't forget the regular books and the hard copy resources that we also have here at Perry Public Library. This has been Scott Howarth. Feel free to stop by and see me with any questions or thoughts or successes. Give me a call if you need at 440-259-3300, and I'd be glad to talk with you. Good luck.